purpose. In paradise, in paradise. We know what our worth is. In paradise, we manifest dreams. In paradise, truth is what you conceive.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark. I want to welcome everybody to the show. This is going to be our second episode. We're getting better and better with getting rid of the technical difficulties, but they do pop up from time to time. Today, let's get into it. Excuse me. This weather's killing me like I'm sure it's killing a lot of you guys. My sinuses are going nuts. Hot, cold. Make up your mind, cold, hot, except tomorrow. I don't want it too cold. Around 45 during the day, 20-something, 30 at night. I'm completely fine with that, but this minus stuff, I'm not too hip on that. Anyway, let's talk about the firing of NFL coaches today. I listened to some shows this morning, and when David Culley got fired about the Texans, a lot of people are saying that it had everything to do with being a black man not being charged or not being given a chance. I think there was a reason why David Culley spent 30 years in the league and not got a job. I think some people, when you go interview for a job, you just don't have it. Like Eric Bieniemy, I think the problem with him getting a job is I don't think he interviews well. Eventually somebody's going to give him one because he deserves it. I mean, he's done a great job with the Chiefs under Andy Reid, and Andy Reid's tree has been fantastic as far as head coaches, where Bill Belichick necessarily has not. And I think the league is trending towards more of a offensive-minded coaches versus defensive-minded, but there are defensive coaches who are in the playoffs. Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin, to name a couple. The rest of them predominantly are offensive coaches. But back to the David Culley firing, I don't think whoever was there was going to do anything. I mean, you didn't have Deshaun Watson playing. You set him out for a year. Your quarterbacks were just atrocious. And for this man to go 4-13 with what he had should give him the right to have at least one more opportunity. You're going to pay him over the 3 years over $17 million. You're going to give him that money anyway. I just don't necessarily know if it had anything to do with him black, as in whoever the coach was going to be a sacrificial lamb. But on the other side of that, I do agree with some people. Shannon Sharp made a good point that, black coaches, they don't necessarily get the leash that some of the white coaches get. It's just like, Jim Caldwell at Detroit. He's 9-7, you get fired. How the hell you get fired at 9-7 considering what Detroit was? And look what happened after that. They haven't done anything close to that since they left. You look at Brian Flores, and we talked about that the other day. I still don't understand that. But once again, there's a reason why some organizations are terrible, okay? There's some reason why some of them are terrible. It starts at the top with the owners, and then it goes down for the president on. Some organizations they're just not very good, and the decision making is terrible. But did it have something to do with it? Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence with it. Am I sad that there aren't more black coaches in the NFL? I think that's ridiculous. And they look in the NBA, there's 30 teams, 14 teams have a black head coach. Whereas football, I mean, what do you have? One left, Mike Tomlin. He's been there 12, 13 years. But again, his situation was completely different with the Pittsburgh Steelers because Art Rooney was the one who started the Rooney Rule that's saying that NFL teams have to interview black head coaches. And there are several successful. You look at Tony Dungy at Tampa Bay. He took a team that was trash, turned them into, got them to where they were Super Bowl ready. Gruden came in, took them over, and they won the Super Bowl. And then after that, didn't do anything since. So, there probably was some validity to that situation or to that argument, but I don't know necessarily with Houston if that was it. Now, do I agree that there need to be more black head coaches? Without question. I think that's a travesty. You have a league that are predominantly black players. They're going to respond to a black coach better than they are going to be a white coach. It is what it is, and I'm sorry people get upset about it, but it is what it is. But on the other side of that, There are white coaches that black players do respond to. Don't get me wrong. My favorite coach, Dave Smith, who owned Midwest Trophy, was the best coach I ever had, simply because he brought out the best in me. He taught me how to be a player. He taught me how to tough it out. He taught me that when the chips got down, only the cream rises to the top. Who's going to do that? Is that going to be you or someone else? Because at the end of the game, whoever wants it most is going to win. That's just how it works. But anyway, so I'm not sure about that so much as in Houston, Texas just being a horrible organization than anything else. Now, can they change? Sure, but they've got to start with the owner, then the president, and then it goes down. It starts with your front office being tight, being right, having it going on like the Miami Heat does, like the Lakers do. The top organizations, you look at them, Golden State Warriors. When you win consistently over a long period of time, that means that your organization is great at the top. And when you look at the Texans, they're a little shady, but at the same time, who knows exactly what that is. So I'm going to really get off that soapbox about that. But I do believe personally that it was more about the Texans, no matter who the coach was, that was going to be fired after 1 year. But to fire David Culley, a black head coach, I'm glad he finally got his opportunity after 30 years being in the coaching ranks. But I do agree with Shannon. The leash that black head coaches versus white head coaches probably is not as great. Let's go to Joe Judge and the Giants. I don't understand this hire. I don't even know why they got hired. When he got hired, I was, Joe Judge, are you serious? I just don't think everybody, just because they apply for a head coaching job, should get one. I don't think everybody's ready for it. Joe Judge clearly was not ready for the Giants head coaching job. And the Giants, being in New York, is like being in Philly. Those fans are hard, okay? They are not soft at all. They're very hard. So I don't necessarily know how I feel about that. About them hiring him, I was just like, I don't get it. But at the same time, they were going to keep him, which is something I don't get. And had he not opened his mouth to being a complete idiot when he spoke at the podium, he probably would still have his head coaching job. But I didn't understand that hiring in the very beginning. It played out that they did not play defense well. They did not play offense well. Daniel Jones might need somebody who can help him mature as a quarterback. Does he have potential? Sure he does. Is he going to reach it if he doesn't get the right head coach? No, he will not. He got the crap beat out of him, and I don't care who the quarterback is. If you get beat up all the time, it's going to be hard for you to respond and be a better guy or a better quarterback if you're getting your head knocked off every play. Brian Flores, the Dolphins. Like I said, the reason why some organizations are staying up and some organizations aren't, the Dolphins happen to be one of those organizations. I don't understand what they're doing. This guy took took a team that was terrible, got them into a winning season. They won 8 out of their last 9 games. Clearly they were trending towards having success next year. Don't quite understand what they're thinking about, but they lost a great coach, and I believe Brian Flores, of these two guys who were fired earlier, David Culley and Joe Judge, I think he will get a job way before either one of those guys do, because he's a much better coach than either one of those guys. And I think he's just a tremendous defensive guy under the Bill Belichick tree. But once again, the NFL is starting to trend towards offensive-minded coaches, not necessarily defensive-minded coaches. And if you are a defensive-minded coach, you better get you a guru offensive guy and then find your quarterback. Because in this league, if you don't have a quarterback, I don't care what you're doing, you're not going to get anything done. And this league is a quarterback driven, has always been, and you got to have that guy under center that makes everything go right. But you have to have an offensive minded guy in order to set him up for success and to be able to get score points. Because in this league, if you don't score points, you're in trouble. I mean, let's quite frankly, you are absolutely in trouble if you do not score points. Matt Nagy at the Bears. I liked Matt Nagy. I think that he did not have the quarterback that he wanted to have. He ended up getting Justin Fields. But once again, Justin Fields got his brains beat out. You got to have, especially when it's a rookie quarterback coming in, you got to have an offensive line. He's got to be protected. I mean, you got to get the ball out of his hands really quickly in order for him just not to get hit every other play. I don't care who you are. If you get beat up all the time, you're gonna start looking at boom, boom, because you look at Patrick Mahomes at the end of last year, at the beginning of this year, he was getting rid of the ball, not sure what his offense was doing, not sure if he was going to have time or not, and he rushed a lot of plays or rushed a lot of passes. That now you see that he does not leave the pocket as quick. He's more standing in there. He's more accurate, and the Chiefs are playing better simply because he has more confidence in his offensive line. But going back to the Bears, Nagy, I believe that he got his guy, but at the same time, he wanted to protect him for years, get him under the center, or get him under tutelage for 1 year to kind of get him, kind of like what they did with Patrick Mahomes. But at the same time, they just couldn't get it done, and he just got his brains beat out, and you can see his confidence. He tried to stay in there, but they just weren't a very good football team. They have the pieces, no doubt. Defensively, they're completely stacked on the defensive side. They're loaded as far as their pay, as far as their paid. All their paid people are on the defensive side. So how are you going to go get quality offensive linemen? How are you going to get quality offensive pieces if you don't have cap space in order to do it? Well, you're going to have to either get rid of some players in order to open up some room for some players, or you got to go draft players. And it's still in the midst of that, you still have to have cap room in order to get that done. So you're going to have to draft well in the offensive line. They're going to have to go in there and get that, and they're going to have to go get some pieces. Their defense is fine. But like I tell people all day long, no matter how great your defense is, if you're on the field all the time, you're going to get your brains beat out. You're going to get scored on. I don't care who you are. If you're on the field a lot, you are going to get tired. And teams are going to take advantage of that. So that's a big key. They're going to have to find, the Bears going to have to find another coach that's willing to go out and get some offensive linemen. And I think that's really what's missing with the Bears is an offensive line to protect Justin Fields. I think he's talented. He works really hard. He seems to be in the facility, what I've heard, all the time. He's there early, he's there late, and that's what you have to be as a quarterback. Your study has to be unbelievable, which when you look at Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of this generation, he's not the greatest quarterback of all time. And we will discuss that on Monday. When you come back, we're going to talk about what is the GOAT. What does that mean? The greatest of all time. And we'll discuss that Monday on, so I hope you join us back Monday on the Unpopular Hour. We will be talking about the GOAT. But anyway, Tom Brady, he's the first one first one to leave. Patrick Mahomes, same thing. Those guys are in the facility at all times. They're studying constantly. If you don't study, quarterback is one of the hardest positions that there is to play, if not the hardest, simply because the ball touches your hands on every offensive snap. So you have to be able to understand what the lineman is, what the defense is doing, what your linemen are doing, what your guys are going to do, what the defense is going to do. You pre-snap and post-snap and be able to think that quick in order to come back and make an adjustment. But anyway, Matt Nagy, I don't have necessarily a problem with the Bears firing him. I think maybe if he had one more year, but they pretty much suck all their money on the defensive side of the ball, so I don't know what coach they're going to get that's going to pretty much change that unless they give him a 3 to 4 year leash that's going to allow him to come in and add some offensive linemen and add some offensive players and at the same time being able to maintain defensively. So I don't know what they're going to do there. Mike Zimmer of the Vikings. He lost his locker room. When your players come out and they make comments, you're dead. You're dead as a coach. If your players don't have confidence in you, there's nothing. This team is not going to be successful. They're going to win games simply because the Vikings have talent. Now, Kirk Cousins is their quarterback. Never been a fan of, but he's efficient. Now, talk about somebody who's made the most of what he's got. His talent-wise, man, his bag is extra full, because he has definitely got several of them that he allowed to put in one big Christmas bag. But Kirk Cousins, I think he's a pretty decent quarterback. I don't know what he actually does in the playoffs. I don't know if he can really lead the Vikings past maybe a first-round game, maybe second. But I would say first round would be the best he could ever achieve with that. But the Vikings, they are loaded with talent. Jefferson on the outside. Man, LSU talking about some receivers. God dang, they got some receivers that they brought out that they've gotten in the league. It's unbelievable the amount of talent that they have. When you think Jamar Chase for Cincinnati and Jefferson were in the same deal. No wonder Joe Burrow was so successful. My God, look what you had to throw at. You got two of the best wide receivers in the league both playing for you in college. But anyway, back to the Vikings. They have tons of talent on the offensive side. They're very good on the defensive side. They have some ability. I think they're a quarterback away from making that jump to be able to go to maybe the second, or if not the finals in the NFL or in the NFC. We shall see, but it depends on what kind of coach they get. Zimmer, once again, being a defensive-minded coach, they need an offensive guy who thinks, who has that edge. And to me, the NFL is trending more towards the younger guys because their process and the players and being able to understand social media and all the things like this. It seems like the NFL is trending more towards the younger quarterback or younger coaches to fulfill those needs that they have on that side of the ball. I do like Mike Zimmer. I thought he was a great guy, but I don't know what he did necessarily to get past or get on the opposite side of his players. But once again, when you lose the players, you're kind of screwed when it comes to that. When I look at the Vikings up top side, offensive, defensive, special teams, they're not too bad. They just need the right guy to put them in the locker room to lead them to the next level. Vic Fangio for the my mind just went blank. The Broncos. Now, don't get mad at me, Jose. Okay, my boy Jose Fierro. He's a huge Broncos fan, so he's probably gonna beat me up for this. But the Broncos, Vic Fangio, I didn't understand his philosophies on what he was doing. The Broncos had some good pieces, but once again, they're missing a quarterback. Their defense is solid. Offense, they've got some players in some positions to do some things, but defensively, they have a very, very, very good defensive team. I didn't necessarily understand a lot of decisions that he made as head coach as far as organizing and clock management and things like that, but he is the head coach, and he has his own mind, and he does what he needs to do. But once again, the NFL, I think, is trending towards the offensive guy, and the Broncos do have some talent. They have talent. There's no question, especially defensively. But like I said, they need to find a quarterback. Drew Lock, he ain't it. Teddy Bridgewater played really well, but he can't stay healthy. But they need a quarterback, and they need one really bad. And I think they're a quarterback away. Now, some people said Aaron Rodgers want to go there. Why the hell would you want to go there? Then you have the two quarterbacks, Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. Why would you want to go against them? You have to place those guys 4 times. Why the hell would you want to go there? Okay? Now, would you have a chance to beat them? Sure, of course. But San Diego, trending up. Chiefs doing what the Chiefs do because they have the best quarterback in the NFL and Patrick Mahomes. So I don't necessarily know how you're going to entice somebody to go there like a Russell Wilson or a Aaron Rodgers, but at the same time, if either one of them go there, the Denver Broncos will take off immediately, and I think they will vie for the championship. I still think the Chiefs will probably win it as long as Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are there together. And but the Chiefs are only got a couple more years because I don't see how much longer Travis Kelce, the best tight end in the NFL, is going to be there. Maybe he's got a couple years left. Tyreek, he's at the top of his game, but he's going to probably start trending down here in the next couple years. So I don't know exactly what the Chiefs are going to be able to do. But on the other side with the Broncos, they're young. They've got some talent on the defensive side, but they are a quarterback away, and they're getting the right guy in there at a head coach is going to make a huge difference for the Broncos. Now, you can't go get a defensive guy, but make sure, once again, you have to have an offensive-minded coach. And on top of that, you got to get a quarterback, because if you don't get that, you are in so much trouble in the NFL. Now, Urban Meyer, I don't even know what to say about this cat. I don't understand that hiring. Is kind of like, to me, with the Joe Judge deal. I don't understand that hiring. Urban Meyer is a great college coach, but when he leaves, destruction follows. When you look at Florida, he left, destruction followed. Ohio State, destruction followed. And now he comes there and does the things that he did at Ohio State. Well, let me explain to you. This is not college, big boy, and he found that out. This is the pros. These are grown men. You're not the czar. You're not going to say, do this, do that. You got that. That's not how you treat grown men. You treat them with respect. It's not like college where you're liked where you're locked in and you got those guys and they can't do anything. Except now, if you're the head coach now with the transfer portal, I wonder how successful you would have been and how many guys would actually stay there, knowing that they could just go whenever they wanted versus having to sit out a year if they transferred and they had to put up with you. So I wonder how that would actually have worked. You as a college head coach, but the NFL just wasn't. Not all college coaches can transfer and go from college right to the pros. It doesn't work that much. Only very few of them have done it. Jimmy Johnson clearly was the best, and Pete Carroll was second to that. Coach Barry Switzer, the coach, came in and coached for the Cowboys, but that was pretty much Jimmy's team, and he just took over. And he was just allowed, just don't screw it up, and he didn't. Went in the Super Bowl, and one of the only coaches who actually have won a Super Bowl and won the national championship. And I think only him and Jimmy, I believe, are the only two coaches to ever do that. One, a former Oklahoma State guy, head coach, and one, a former Oklahoma coach, which tells you what? Oklahoma and Oklahoma State have had some great coaches come through here. So, but anyway, on the other side of that, the Jaguars, they're a mess, but they do have Trevor Lawrence. He just needs the right guy to get in there and lead him. But once again, you got to protect the guy. You got to have an offensive line. The Chiefs saw that last year. They completely revamped their offensive line, and look where the Chiefs are back in the playoffs, back on top, going at it again. But the Jaguars, you got to find an offensive-minded coach. You got to find somebody who the players will believe in, and you got to get an offensive line to protect Trevor Lawrence because he is talented. I do everything what Trevor Lawrence has done, but you got to find a head. You got to find somebody for the Jaguars, an offensive-minded coach that can help take Trevor Lawrence to the next level. The Raiders. Once again, considering what they went through this year, I cannot believe they even survived what they survived. But Rich Biscata, whatever his name is, he's done a fantastic job. How the hell did he get them in the playoffs? I have no idea. This team should have been totally destroyed from the time that Gruden left to what happened with the tragic death in the car accident to their defensive back just being a complete idiot, saying the things he's done. I don't know how the Raiders held it together and did what they did, other than their quarterback David Carr being he's unbelievable. He's unbelievable, I just really love him, and I'm glad that he finally got into the playoffs after 127 games, whatever, making it the third or fourth longest in the history of the NFL. But the Raiders, you got to keep this guy. Obviously, clearly the players like him. Clearly the players are playing hard for him. Clearly he's brought them together and put them together, cemented them as a group. So why you'd want to get rid of him, I don't know why you'd want to do that. I would say keep the guy, give him a couple more years to see what he does, or at least give him one more year to see if he can build on that. And if he can't, then adios. But if not, give him a year to see if he can continue to maintain what he's done thus far. Because if he can, hey, what do you have to lose? Absolutely nothing. So, but anyway, we're going to take a break right now. Everybody stay patient, and I'll be right back. Everybody, let's go back into my favorite sport, that is basketball. Let's talk about the Big 12 boys. Big 12 basketball. Oklahoma State, of course, lost to Tech the other night, which, like I said, this OSU's team, I feel sorry for the guys. Can't wait for our reunion on the 19th. But I just feel sorry for them because these kids, they absolutely have nothing to play for, but they are playing hard. And Coach Boynton has them ready, and I feel sorry for him. I mean, this team had so much potential coming off last year, losing Cade, but learning so much, getting so much experience as far as being able to play tough teams, understanding what it takes to win close games, understanding what you have to do as a team to win those games. And I thought that coming into this year that they'd be a little bit more competitive, not competitive, but win a couple more games. But at the same time, man, that would be hard, knowing that no matter what I do, where's it going to take me? But on the other side, guys, you got to realize that you can win games, and you are putting stuff on your tape. for the NFL, for the NBA. So that helps. But when we look at the Big 12 standings, you have Texas Tech at 3-1, Baylor 3-1, Texas 3-1, KU 2-1, West Virginia 2-1, OU 2-2, TCU 1-1, Iowa State 1-3. My boys 1-3, and of course K State 0-4. Sorry, my boy Ron, y'all have no wins, bro. No wins, no nut. But anyway, with Tech's got coming up, Tech has a tough game coming up. Okay, they have a game coming up against K State at K State. And I have played at K-State. K-State is not an easy place to win. And part of what I'm going to talk about today is what it is going into a particular place. And I played in most of these arenas and what it takes to actually get a W there. But Tech being 3-1, flying high right now. They just beat Baylor at Baylor and then beat my boys Wednesday night. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to go into to Manhattan and handle business against KU, improving to 4-1 and continuing to lead the Big 12 Conference. When you look at Baylor, man, they're loaded top to bottom. Their next game is at OSU, which I don't know what's going to happen with that. They just came off getting beat by Baylor, so getting beat by Tech, so I'm not sure how well that's going to bode for us. Fortunately, it is in Gallagher-Iba Arena, the best college basketball arena in college basketball, the best place to play. Now, am I partial? Yes, because I played there. Yes, no question. But at the same time, it was voted as the best arena in college basketball, simply because the history, because of the way it looks. And if anybody played there, you can tell the rims look huge. They're huge. They're not the normal size. They look extra large. And it's because of the facility, the way it was built. It was built for wrestling and basketball. So I'm just saying it is a great place to play. And by the way, same floor that's always been there. And it's an extra jumping floor. So for those guys who have to get close to being able to dunk, that it allowed them to be able to do that a la Randy Wright. Wait a minute. You never could touch the rim, could you? Did I just put you on blast? Oh, that's right, because you have a goaltending that you didn't deserve. Yes. But it is marked down, even though you know, and I know that you didn't do it. But anyways, let's get back. All right, I regress. Anyway, Texas 3-1. They play at Iowa State this coming weekend. Their only loss, of course, was to us at our spot. But they've got to play at Iowa State, and of course, Iowa State is 1-3, but they play at Iowa State, and I hated that gym. Probably because we never won there. Because it was always hard to get to Ames because you had to come in to get to Des Moines. You got to get your flight. You got to drive for hours to get there, and it's just hard to get to. But now they just fly right into it with the planes and stuff that they got now. They don't have the same issues that we had back in the day. So, but anyway, I hated that place. I've had some of my worst games there. Coming back. In fact, one time we lost to them. We're ranked 13th in the country, and we lose to them. We got upset by them, but we had a horrible game. But it had to depend on, we got stuck in the airport forever at the old Stapleton Airport in Denver. And if you've been there, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It was a terrible, excuse my language, it was a shithole. And now the new airport is beautiful, but Stapleton was terrible. Anyway, we got stuck there. We didn't get in until 4:00 in the morning. Had to get up 7, have pregame. Had 11:00 game. Played terrible. Got beat. Then we come back, fly back into Tulsa, and then there's two ways to get to Stillwater. You can take Highway 51 and go through Yale, or you can come back and you take 64 and take the Turnpike. Well, Coach Hanson, they wanted to take the Turnpike, but we convinced our driver, hey, let's get there quick. Let's take 51 because 51 is a little bit quicker, even though you got to go through those little trap towns. So we go through Yale. Cop pulls us over. Highway Patrol pulls us over. Pulls us out of the van. Makes us all stand there. Berates us for 10 minutes on how terrible we played. Guy must have lost some money. Berate us and then made us and said if you drive 1 mile over the speed limit, he was going to give us a ticket and take us out of jail. Okay? The guy followed us all the way back to Gallagher-Iba Arena. Made sure we did not speed 1 mile over the speed limit. Okay? Get back, and then we had practice. So anyway, that place to me has horrible memories. I hate ISU. I hate playing there. But anyway, Texas has to go play Iowa State. KU Is at West Virginia. Uh, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen there. Or excuse me, that's home against West Virginia. I'm sorry. And now talking about a great place to play. Man, I love the Fog. I love playing at KU. Had some of my best games there. Their fans are extremely appreciative of basketball. Now they may yell at you and call your names and throw things at you and do all that stuff, but they are extremely knowledgeable and extremely appreciative of good basketball. And even though they yelled and screamed at me, I came back a couple years later and played on a traveling team, and they gave me a standing ovation, and I really, really appreciated that. And all I can say is that the Fog is a great place to play. It's a beautiful facility. They've redone it, and of course, my boy Bill Self has got the boys rolling. And talking about what an outstanding coach he is there's not enough superlatives to say how I feel about that man and what he's done, the great coaching job he's done, considering that he took over from Roy Williams, who took over from Coach A. So anyway, I look at that, and because Larry is he's a great guy. And he left KU and went to UCLA, and of course took them to a national title. But when you look at KU, their coaching tree. Bill has definitely stood up, and he stands there head to head with all of those guys or anybody that want to stand against him. He's done a great job of that. So anyway, KU hosting West Virginia, and of course West Virginia is also 2-1, and so we'll see how that turns out. They lost to Texas, so we'll see what they do with that. West Virginia is just strong now. OU 2-2. Want to say what a great hire that was that they got, both for the women and men. They're 2-2, and he's got them rolling. They play at TCU, and I never played at TCU, but I've been there, and their gym is, I think subpar for a Big 12 college to have. I'm not necessarily a fan of it. It's kind of round, rinky-dinky looking place. I'm not a fan. I should say rinky-dinky. It's just I'm not a fan of that facility and the way it looks. But anyway, OU has to go there and play. I think OU should get them. They're playing really, really well. They're playing with a lot of confidence. Getting beat by Texas is nothing to be ashamed of. They played really well. They played really hard. They got beat by them. So I think that OU should go get Tech or go get TCU next coming week or tomorrow night. TCU again at OU. TCU is 1-1. I think that OU will handle business with them, and I think they will be 1-2 at the end of the day. Iowa State, like I said, I'm not. Anyway, they play Texas at Texas. I think Iowa State's going to be 1-4 at the end of the day. I still don't know how they would rank 21st, but it all depends on what you do preseason and how well you look in the preseason playing against Pootie Poots, which is basically obviously what happened because once they've gotten to Big 12, they're 1-1, getting ready to be 1-3, getting ready to be 1-4, playing Texas because Texas is going to handle business against them at home. And the Drum's a great place to play. I love that facility at Texas. I've never been to the football field, but basketball I played there at Texas. It's a tough place to play. Beautiful facility. But anyway, that's going to be a great game, but I think Texas will come out on top in that game. Oklahoma State hosting Baylor. We are playing at our spot. That is a definite home advantage for us. But like I said, Baylor getting upset by Texas at home the other night. I don't know how well, getting upset by Tech at home. I don't know how well that's going to bode for us. But I know Coach B will have the boys ready to go. And, of course, I will be supporting them via the TV. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go to the game, but I love my facility. I love that place. The things, the locker room and the nutrition and the things that Coach B's wife does for nutrition-wise for the guys and things they have there, it's just unbelievable. And it's definitely something, if you have never had a chance to go to a guy like Garaiba, you should. And I want plans to start going in and supporting the guys. I mean, they're young. Like I tell people, just like the Thunder. When you have a beautiful place to play, go watch them. Give them some support. They're young. They need support. Go support them, And it's something that you've got to do. It's unlike OU that no matter how good their basketball team is, they're never going to fill up their facilities simply because it's a football school. And it is what it is. I mean, they had Wayman Tisdale, they had Trey Young, they had Blake Griffin. They still couldn't fill the facility up every day, sell it out. How can you not sell it out with those guys playing? But that's what happens. Oklahoma State, on the other hand, when they hired Numbnuts and he took over, you went from having a 13-year waiting list to advertising it into paper. And guess what you're still doing? Advertising in the paper because of the coaching hires. Once again, we talk about football. It's all about who you hire as coach that makes a difference. But anyway, Coach Boynton has got them back on track, and I think we'll be fine. Like I said, I'm going to have to I'm going to go with my heart, not my mind, and say Oklahoma State in the upset of Baylor. But my mind tells me no, but my heart, being an OSU Aggie, I'm going to have to go with my boys and say we're going to get them in an upset. Because we did beat Texas at home, so I think we have an opportunity to beat Baylor because once we get the fans in there and get rolling and get some support, I think we have a chance to beat Baylor, the number one team in the country. Kansas State hosting Tech. I think, like I said in the beginning, Tech will handle their business against K-State. They're 0-4. I don't think they have a chance, especially Tech. I almost went to school at Texas Tech, and love that facility, love playing in there because the fans get in there and they're crazy, and you're out in West Texas, so what else you got to do? You might as well go to a basketball game. What else you got to do? And plus you have one of the best teams in the country, so I can completely see why those teams do that. Now, let's talk about Big 12 women's basketball. On the flip side of that, Iowa State women, 4-0. OU 3-1. Boy, she's got them playing, doesn't she? Coach Barnazek, she's really doing well. That was a great hire once again by their athletic director. He seems to have a knack for hiring the right people to put in the right places there at OU. And she's replacing the legend Sherry Cole, which I love Sherry Cole. She was an amazing coach and brought OU into national prominence as a women's basketball program. And it looks like Jenny will be coming right back for that. Kansas State 3-1. KU 2-1, Texas 1-2, West Virginia 1-2, TCU 1-2, Tech 1-3. Oklahoma State, God, they're down this year. 1-3. Coach will get them back though. OSU's, it happens. You have injuries, you have people who leave, things like that. But OSU will have them back, and I believe Coach will get them back. He's a great coach, and I know he'll have them back. So I'm not really worried about the Cowgirls off to a slow start, but they will get done and will get back up to the top of the league. If not by this year, next year they'll be back. Baylor, complete opposite of the men. 0-2. But Iowa State, they do play at Oklahoma State this weekend, tomorrow. I hope that the Cowgirls can step up, being at home, and get a W. It'd be a nice win because they need something to jumpstart their season. This would be a perfect opportunity for them to get a W, to get some momentum, to get them traveling into the second half of the season. So if they can get that done, I think that'd be a great win for them. OU hosting TCU. I think this will be a good game, but OU should handle business. TCU being 1-2, OU 3-1, playing at home. Lloyd Noble, they should get that. They should get the W out of that. It shouldn't be that big of a problem. But once again, this is college basketball. If you don't come to play, you can't get beat. Kansas State at Tech. Once again, K State 3-1, opposite of what the men who are on the bottom of the Big 12. The women are 3-1, and they play at Tech, which I think they should get the win there. Tech struggling at the beginning of the year, so, and then with COVID coming out, girls, guys being sick, anything can happen. And guys, wear your mask. Take care of yourself, okay? Take care of yourself. You're playing sports. You can't be like these idiot college students who have nothing to lose. If you won't play a game, you can cost your team a victory. You can cost your team a ranking. You can cost your team a possibility to go into the NCAA tournament. So you athletes, y'all aren't regular students. You have to protect yourselves. You got to watch who you're around and what you're doing. Make sure that your circle of friends are understanding what the situation is and who they're with. That's very important. Okay. KU 2-1 at hosting Baylor. This is going to be a very good game. I think the KU should get a win. A very good game. Sorry. Baylor's 0-2. KU should get that home victory. Texas 1-2 against West Virginia. They're 5 against 6. You're at home, Texas. You got to protect the home surface. So I'm going to go Texas. Got to win that game. That's kind of what I'm thinking. If you got West Virginia at home, you should win that. West Virginia, you play at Texas. Clearly, I just talked about that. I think West Virginia will be 1-3. Texas will be 2-2 after tomorrow. TCU at OU. TCU will be 1-3. OU should be 4-1 after that. After the game tomorrow, like I said, playing at home, you got to get that W and protect your home space. Oklahoma State, once again, I said that we're playing Baylor at home. Hopefully we can get a W. I'm going to once again go with my heart and on my mind and say that Oklahoma State girls are going to get the W over Baylor. We shall see how that works. But over Iowa State. I'm sorry, over Iowa State, the number 1 team in the Big 12. Baylor 0-2 at KU. If you can't get the WKU, I don't know what to tell you. You're playing them at home. They're 0-2. You're at home. You should get that done. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching the show today. I hope that it was informative. And remember, Monday, we're going to be discussing the GOAT, the greatest of all time. What does that really, really mean? Does that mean how many Super Bowls you got? How many NBA championships you got? How many World Series championships do you have? Is that what the GOAT is? Anyway, Monday, 11 o'clock. Check us out. Thank you for watching the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark.